What on God's green earth just happened to the Japanese yen? Let's talk about it. Welcome back, guys. The Japanese yen just launched upwards, but the USD JPY just launched downwards due to that yen strength coming in. What has happened to change the story here for the Japanese yen, causing a slide all the way from an exchange rate of 150 down to, at one point here briefly, 147.34 in a matter of minutes? We had a massive drop. It was kind of like the happy crasher. You guys know that meme? Check it out.
Oh joy, the happy crasher!
We use it often in the videos. Chandler loves that. It's pretty funny.
I'm a simple man who likes his cartoons. What can I say?
Anyways, the USD JPY is back down to 148.96 at the time of recording this, and it's moving fast. It's moving all over the place. And if we take a look at the 5-minute chart, you can see the absolute terrifying candle that we have. I mean, look at this. You can't, all the other price action that was going on just completely swept under the rug by this terribly horrific candle. I will say this. Imagine if you were day trading the 5-minute chart and you're like long right here and your stop loss is right here. Just a heads up, your stop loss did not get filled there. Just a heads up. In case you are not familiar with how stop losses actually work, stop losses are orders to close in the market. They're not guaranteed stop out points. So when you take this buy and you put a stop loss here, this is an order to the market saying, okay, fill me at the best possible price at this moment if price goes under. So if price shoots underneath it, your stop loss might get filled here. This is the reality of trading. There's risks involved, and this is why everybody says don't over leverage your account. Because what could have happened is if you were all in on your account right here, you could have lost like 3 times over your entire account. That's why people say you can lose more than you even invest in trading. It is possible, and you can end up owing the broker in situations like this, so be very careful. Anyways, the dollar yen cross up from its lows, of course, but still a tremendous drop. And what is causing this? Let's dive into an article that I found, well, my producer found for me right now. So the USD JPY tumbles towards 147 as Japanese yen soars, signs of possible interventions. Now, the playbook here is set out in stone. This has happened before. The Bank of Japan at the 150 exchange rate between the US dollar and the Japanese yen has clearly stated they do not like the exchange rate at that level. They think it's too high, too many yens required for one single dollar. And so the Bank of Japan is back and making another move to try and change that currency exchange. The Japanese yen rapidly strengthens across the board, causing, of course, things like UJ, EJ, GJ to go down, indicating possible intervention. USD JPY plunges above 150 to 147.28 within a few minutes. The USD JPY experiences sudden collapse, plunging more than 250 pips within a few minutes. The pair, which had been trading above 150, sharply dropped to 147. So the US jobs openings we watched this morning on the live show, if you were with us, then you know that was an impactful thing, which has continued to drive the dollar higher against the Japanese yen. But clearly, the point here is the suspicion is that intervention is likely coming. Now, significant volatility indicating a potential intervention by Japanese officials to strengthen the currency. The Bank of Japan has been clear. They do not like the 150 mark being the exchange rate for the dollar yen. Why? Well, think about it. If you're Japan and you're doing business with the US and dollars are just incredibly expensive, that could be hurtful to your economy, right? If you're spending so much more to buy US products or to do business with the US, right? The point is, it could be very expensive. So they don't like that rate. So they may act to buy their own bonds in order to strengthen the Japanese yen. This is what intervention usually entails. Now, the playbook, like I said, has been played before. The last time we were actually at 150, we saw a very similar scenario. And this is why you get such stark reactions. Look what happened last time. We ended up hitting that 150 mark and drove lower for months to come. So will the story be the exact same this time around? Should we just sell dollar yen thinking, hey, intervention may be around the scenes? Well, let me pause, because if you're a regular viewer of the channel, if you're like an OG, You know that before this event happened, there was actually several times before where the Bank of Japan indicated they wanted to intervene, and yet the price continued to drive higher anyways. So what do we make of this? Is this just one opportunity to just go short and think this market's going to go all the way back down, or can it drive higher? The point is, intervention threats from the Bank of Japan, they are meaningful, but they're not the only factor at play. The dollar strength is no joke. And in my opinion, I don't necessarily think that just because the Bank of Japan is threatening to intervene, that this just straight up means the yen is going to strengthen to oblivion. I think actually that the trend is still kind of on. However, what I'd like to see would be a substantial breakout of 150. Now, this is a huge play, guys, because think about this. If 150 breaks, right, this is a major level of resistance. If 150 breaks, that might indicate that the Bank of Japan's efforts to try and suppress the price exchange could be futile and the dollar could rally stronger. So what I'd say is watch very closely for breakouts on the Japanese yen against the US dollar. Now, I want to talk about the EDGEFINDER's bias in the in the recent weeks. We have had a really bullish bias in the EDGEFINDER for actually several weeks, and we've continued to be bullish. So I am actually bullish on dollar yen, but not until we get a significant breakout. Like if 151 or 152 trades and the Bank of Japan seems like they're not going to be able to handle the dollar strength, I kind of like the idea of being actually on the bullish camp. However, where it currently sits, I don't really have too much interest because I think it really could go either ways depending on what the Bank of Japan decides to do, as well as whether or not dollar strength persists. In my view, there are other areas of the markets that are interesting, but I want to show you something else. Institutional money has some skin in the game. Let's look at the dollar, but let's also tie up the dollar against the Japanese yen and take a look at that data. Okay, so what I've done here on the smart money trackers, I've compared the dollar against the Japanese yen. This will give us an inside look at what the COT data is showing us institutional traders are buying and selling. And I've isolated again for today's video, the yen compared to the dollar. It is clear that institutional money much prefers being long the dollar and short the Japanese yen. Now, does the Bank of Japan's intervention change things? Maybe a little bit. But last time it really did. I remember the COT data at the previous major intervention back last year, the yen was still very short by institutional traders and drove lower compared to the dollar in weeks to follow, despite threats from the Bank of Japan. Now, again, there was a rollover in the dollar, which also, the point is, I think the story is more focused on the dollar component than it is the Japanese yen. Yes, the Bank of Japan can make their threats. They can make, their, hey, we're going to buy our own bonds and we're going to drive the strength of the yen. I think that that is certainly possible, and I could be wrong about this, but I think the focus is more on the US dollar, as it is very much a strong environment for the dollar, and I'm still bullish on it until that changes. So when looking at institutional positioning, what do we really see? We see the dollar has a 73% long to short ratio in terms of long contracts that are open on the futures market from the CFTC's commitment of traders data. You flip it around, you take a look at the yen, 77% of contracts are on the short side for the yen. This shows a stark contrast between the dollar and the Japanese yen. Now you take a look at the latest filing. The latest filing shows not anything too interesting. A little bit of decrease in both camps, a little bit of short bias on both. So not too much of interest there. But the point is, smart money gives us a smart money tracker. The institutional positioning from the COT data is a really valuable indicator. If you guys don't have access to this indicator and you would like a copy for yourself, if you made it this far into the video, we're about 9 minutes in. If you enjoy our content and you appreciate what we do here on my channel, we put a lot of work into these videos. If you would like a copy and you're a dedicated viewer, we appreciate you and we want to offer you a discounted copy of the tool. So down below in the description, there will be a live chat link. When you click that link, it looks like this. It will take you to a place where you can have a direct message conversation with our staff. If you'd like to speak with a staff member, click that link, click EDGEFINDER 15% off, and tell them that you came from the YouTube video and that you'd like a bigger discount. They'll work something out for you. But again, thank you very much for tuning in to today's video. I hope this was helpful to you to give you a little bit of clarity on this chaos that is happening on the dollar yen. And I hope you trade safe. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're looking to improve as a trader, we've got some cool free resources here that I wanted to share as we close today's video. Down below in the description, there is a link to join our Discord channel or our Telegram channel. And we also have our website, a1trading.com, where traders can get access to free course material to help you improve as a trader. Remember, we are also live Monday through Friday on this channel around 9:30 a.m. US Eastern, broadcasting most live news events and that sort of thing. So hope to see you there. And also, we do have a couple videos here showing up on the screen. If either of these seems like it might be helpful to you, then make sure to click here or here, and we'll see you there.